Brian Kelly speaking a lot about what he saw on Saturday, and obviously he spoke a little bit about John Emery coming back for the offense, and I think everybody's excited to see what Emery can bring. And a lot like we talked about last week, going into the matchup on Saturday, of trying to establish a running attack outside of Jayden Daniels. They were able to do that from a numbers standpoint. You still didn't see that big pop, right? I think Armani Goodwin and John Emery are going to be the two top guys once they have Emery, available. After seeing kind of, a 2-game sample of limited reps for Kane, Goodwin, and Williams, Josh Williams, Armani Goodwin, and Noah Kane in week 1 versus Florida State, they were able to kind of really give them a workload in week 2 versus Southern. And for me, the one that gives you the best SEC playmaking ability is Armani Goodwin out of the first 3 that we've seen this season. Right? I think Kane is a nice power back that you can put in short down situations, and he's got some good push to him, but he doesn't have that burst. Right? I mean, he hasn't really had that. If you watched his highlights at IMG Academy, he could get up and go, man. But he sustained an injury his freshman season at Penn State, which he was rolling up until that point. And it just doesn't seem like he's gained that pop back, that juice back that he once had. And watching Goodwin, I think he gives you that capability. You'd like to see it more consistently, but, him aligned with John Emery, who – by all accounts is bought in and ready to go. And, we've talked about it time and time again from Emery's standpoint. This is it. There's no more, wait till next season's or might get it right down the road. You got to get it right now. And he knows that. He sat right here in the studio and said that a couple of times. So I'd imagine that there will be an uptick in at least a focus on the running game with Emery available to go on Saturday. And if I had to choose one, a guy that, I think you need multiple backs. I think, we've seen it so many times. You got to have multiple backs in this league in the SEC to really stay relevant running the ball. And I would throw Jayden Daniels in there as a running threat. So, you almost kind of count him as a running back by this equation. I think if you've got John Emery, if they believe in a guy like Goodwin and you can run, Jayden Daniels, 7 to 10 times a game, I think that's an attack that you can win with if they're able to spread the ball around. I would also say that I would continue to get Malik Neighbors and Kayshon Boutte involved in the run game. I mean, I thought Kayshon looked like a Ferrari on that jet sweep where he got out in the open. I mean, he looked very smooth. He was running downhill. He tried to kick it to the sideline, and he got wrapped up around the ankles. But, I mean, that 41-yard burst looked like he was back. And I would do that twice a game, minimum. Just hand it to him on a jet sweep with his momentum pointing downhill and just see what happens. I'm not telling you he's going to kick, he's going to pick up 40 yards every time he touches it, but I'd imagine he's going to get you positive yardage. He's rarely going to lose yardage for you in the run game. I'd say the same for Malik Neighbors. I would just toss it to him on a jet sweep once a half, see what happens. Maybe 8 yards here, 6 yards here, and you take the pressure off of Jayden Daniels having to run it. You take the pressure off these two running backs that they're still trying to find their way. Emery, we'll wait and see how he can jump in. But John Emery coming back on Saturday is going to be a big story, and I think they go right to him. I wouldn't be surprised to see him, maybe not start the game, but within the first series he's in there. Maybe the first third down of the game he's in there, or, second series he's in there full time. I think that this game, the lack of output from that position are really going to force Frank Wilson, the running backs coach, Mike Denbrock, the OC, and Brian Kelly to make that move and get him out there pretty quick. So I'm anxious to see how Emery can affect the game.
Well, and
being back.
Just for your Kayshon point, isn't that just an easy way to get him involved? Like, you want to see him get within the flow of the offense. If Jayden Daniels is struggling getting past his first read, or if he's tucking and running it too early, here, pop it to him, get Kayshon involved in the game, get Malik involved in the game, just so they know what kind of playmakers you have on the outside, as opposed to, all right, 3rd and 8, now it feels like you have to throw throws not there, maybe it's, take a sack, stuff like that. Now nobody's in rhythm. I just think it's an easy way to get, obviously, Kayshawn, there's been a lot made of that, get him the ball, and then Malik, get him the ball, and then you kind of start seeing those playmakers out in space as opposed to it feeling very forced with, all right, let's do zone read, first and second down, third down, throw it, punt. I would just like to see a little bit more. Use what you got. You got so many cups in the cupboard. Start filling them up.
You know who else I think needs to get more touches? Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
Dude, me too.
I agree.
That touchdown was
I agree.
like everything.
If you go back and watch the Florida State game, he's the one that he's probably looking to the most.
Yeah.
And he was capitalizing on every opportunity. He looks like a player. So I would like to see him out there more too. That's what I'm saying. There's so many guys that LSU has that feels like are almost untapped potential, but I love that call. Man, he's been playing awesome.
Yeah, he needs to be in your top 3 receiving receivers right now. And really the top 5 receivers on this team are they're your best playmakers. Kayshawn, Malik, Brian Thomas,
Besh.
Jack Besh caught a touchdown last week. Looks like he's about to start getting right. And Jeray Jenkins, to me, are your 5 best playmakers on the team. I would throw 6, probably Jayden Daniels, with his ability to run the ball.
And then sneaky good.
And then hopefully you can see what John Emery does, right? Like from a standpoint of stepping in there and giving you another option of somebody who can, pop a play, just kind of pop one real quick. So, yeah, man, put the ball in their hands immediately. You can't put the ball in their hands enough, in my opinion. Look at the way that I thought Texas, more than anything, exposed Alabama from the standpoint of that's how you attack those aggressive, athletic athletes where you just play one-on-one with them and you just flip it out to these guys in space, quick passes, get the ball out of your hand. For as good as Quinn Ewers looked, and I thought Quinn Ewers looked phenomenal up until he got knocked out in that game. All of the hype. Didn't he grade out as some perfect recruit?
Yeah, they said he got the 1,000
or whatever it was. He looked the hype.
His face is fat.
On Saturday, I thought that he, for the time that he was in there, he looked great, but he was throwing to wide open guys. If anything jumps off, if I'm in the state of Texas right now, I'm looking at Texas A&M, who's got all these freak players and can't get anybody open, and then I'm looking at Texas, at Sarkisian, who's probably playing with a little bit of an undermanned roster, especially compared to what Alabama's putting out there, and really their wide receivers were wide open on Saturday.
That drop touchdown was big.
For Texas.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Beat two
huge.
men.
How about the snap hook field goal before halftime, Coach?
It's Sark in the sunglasses.
Can you get those safety back? You get the safety back, you win the game.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. From LSU standpoint, I think that they've got playmakers. They got guys that you can put the ball in their hands and they can change the scoreboard immediately. Right? And I think you're getting one back this weekend, and hopefully Emery can play that role.